We are the hub for news, results, and CEO interviews focusing in the junior commodities sector. We provide market analysis and perspective that will help position you for solid returns.
Hi, everyone. We're not doing Digging Deeper today, but I wanted to check in with everyone and say hello. Depending on what news sources you're looking at, you're either hopeful that things will bounce back or there's not a lot of good news out there anytime soon. I think if you know me by now, I would be very hopeful. I would love it if there's a bounce back, but I'm not expecting too much anytime soon. And that's tough whenever your job is to be talking about stocks and opportunities in the market, whenever the overall markets and the economy are looking pretty disastrous. And these major issues, and it's strange because if I talk to people around town, they don't know of much of these issues. The supply chain issues, food shortages. I mean, even if I walk to Safeway, half the shelves, I mean, there's food on there, but there's a lot that's not on there. So this is all happening. The energy crisis is still on. Europe is still in big trouble. Some of the biggest Google searches are for like firewood, peat moss. I mean, that's the situation they've put themselves in Europe. And I know lots of people will want to say, oh, it's because of Putin. And no, that's not because of Putin. I mean, he's taking advantage of a situation. We could easily be shipping energy to Europe. We're not. We could easily be doing this. So someone has to ask, why are we punishing all of Europe and letting the death toll will be pretty big if it's a cold winter? And never mind that it's the worst drought in Europe as well in 500 years. And they're attempting to stop, fertilizer, sales and growth. Now, of course, in parts of Canada, they are ignoring this, as they should, as Justin tries to stop the use of nitrogen and whatnot, because common sense has to prevail, and people have to stop just kind of doing what they're told when it makes no sense. Now, I'm not. I mean, that's a little bit a little edgy to say, and I have to be a bit careful. But what we really need is competent people to come in and to lay forth a plan as to how we're going to achieve any of the goals that we want to meet. And as you know, I don't like the narrative of, say, like a Republican or right wing versus Democrat left wing, that one side has to hate an electric future, the other one has to only like oil and gas. No, it's not true. You could be a Republican and want nuclear and hope that we can do some of this renewables. Hopefully that it can actually work, and we can work on the intermittency problems and really strive towards this. But realize the reasonable and obvious situation that we're in right now, where we have energy needs and they're not being met. And as we've mentioned in the energy report, the notion that somehow, even if the West were to be able to get off and only use renewables, this notion that somehow the third world, developing world, China are all going to stop is nonsense. So we need a big wake up on all fronts of society. We're facing massive propaganda on every front, and once again, from the left and from the right. It's tough right now to tell what is truthful, what is factual, what's going on, and there's a lot of fights going on, not only socially but economically. But overall, most people, what they're concerned about is we need to get inflation under control, get supply chains going, and to some degree take responsibility for making products ourselves again. The reliance on third world, Chinese, fat manufacturing, that has to be done with. And that doesn't mean we don't trade. We have friendly relations with them, but we can't rely on that old globalist system. It doesn't work. It can't work. I mean, any universal type idea never does work. Why? Because we're different people, and we should really celebrate our differences because that's how we grow as people. We don't have to like or even respect some of the positions that people have, but if we really want to grow in life, it's that we challenge ourselves to look at those differences and to consider things in different frames of mind. And not that we have to adopt them, but think, okay, that's interesting. Because sometimes it just gives you more of a healthy respect for what you have. But that's beside itself. We do have some interesting things in the market. despite a lot of bad news. I mean, the IMF is expecting another 20% decline in growth. I would think that's pretty, safe bet to say. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I mean, we don't see inflation getting too much better. Bank of England, certainly having a lot of issues over there. But here is one interesting story. Is the Merck, I'm trying to find it here right now, the Merck and Moderna deal. They're working on a cancer mRNA treatment. This has shot the stock up quite a bit today. And sorry, just bear with me. Yeah, so they're joint developing a possible, what do you call it, mRNA vaccine that would work towards melanoma. And now this cancer therapy or immunotherapy is called Keytruda, and it's mid-stage trial. So the date on the vaccine is mRNA 4157. Now, of course, there will be all sorts of hoopla. It's an mRNA one. Is this good? Is it bad? Is it not? There's a lot of hope with mRNA. And with vaccines. There's lots of good with them, even though there's lots of data over our past experience with them as being mostly negative or not terribly beneficial. There is lots of high hopes, and it's good to feel hopeful that there'll be developments in this space and that maybe there will be some big bridges to solving some massive health issues. That's only a good thing. So anytime there's any good news of that nature towards health and wellness, it's not a bad thing. So I wanted to kind of throw that out there. And of course, we're lucky to be working with companies that we're very excited about and we think have a huge future. And even old names that we love, like Desert Mountain, that have pulled back a bit. We look at these as just great periods of time to just accumulate and to solidify and consolidate positions. We're not trading. If my account is down, as most people's are right now, it's not great. It's not a lot of fun. But I have years and years framework of how we invest. So if I look at the snapshot today, it doesn't look very good, but I'm not too concerned because in a year, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, it'll be a very different story. And that's what we're trying to build here is these major themes that are virtuous, that are very helpful, but that are also very profitable are things that we want to focus on. And whenever I can be critical about a lot of the green space and the people in it because of the lack of science, we love anything that can help aid the environment anyway. That's our bread and butter. We like this green electric revolution. We love uranium. We love this Progressive Planet company, which has a fertilizer component, but especially it's able to sequester carbon into concrete. I mean, that alone is such a huge benefit to society. That's really us putting, our money where our mouth is. And I mean, this company I think it's going to really, kind of shake some heads of what they're up to. And it's cool because it's a Canadian company. It's Kamloops and Calgary. What they're doing is really amazing. And these are the things that whenever things are tight or tough or the markets are down and there's lots of bad news and it's, there's a lot of fear because we've got all this ugliness in Ukraine and Russia and tensions are running high, is that it's nice to be able to shift focus and think, okay, what are some of the good news stories out there? And even if they're not getting a market boost, even if there's no quote unquote profit to be made today, that's fine. That's no problem. If we're into stories where we know there's a common good and that they're striving towards excellence, yeah, maybe it's in 6 months, maybe it's in a year, maybe there's great news then. So companies like Progressive, we're so excited to be just accumulating positions, and we feel strong that we're going to do well long term with it. Other ones that we hear us talk about DME. I mean, that once again, I have no intentions of selling DME until such times it's either bought out or it's paying out dividends. I mean, I love what they're up to. They hit every checkbox, and we spend a lot of time with management and with teams and the people involved to make sure that can they handle when things go badly, when things are tough. And we're hitting all those things right now. I mean, the supply chain issue hasn't really been fixed. There's still tons of issues out there, but that resolve by CEOs and management teams to be able to address those issues and to accommodate them, and also do the best they can. That shows high diligence and discipline in tough times. So, as I said, it's tough, but if you can just get through this period of time, this is a very difficult time in world history. I think some people don't realize how significant today is. Like, we're in world history right now, and it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of bad news out there, and they're still trying to push, COVID. I see that in a Reuters report. They're still trying to push that to death to cause fear. Especially they're mentioning it in Europe, and it's like, well, yeah, it's a coronavirus. We've had coronavirus forever. There's a lot under the coronavirus of what those could be. So yeah, we're heading into flu season. It's going to be cold, and people are going to get sick. So it's tough. It's a tough place out there. Let me just put it that way. But we like to focus not on those kind of stories that are tough. We are pretty good at risk management and looking at probabilities, and that's there's ones that one should spend time on and energy on, and ones that it's your choice. It's up to you. Let me just put it that way. So we always kind of acknowledge that there's maybe not a lot of good news out there, but at the same time, it's a beautiful day here in Vancouver. I've got a roof over my head. I've got some money in the bank. There's lots of good companies that are doing really cool stuff, that are going to be, hitting milestones, that are going to be doing great things that will be beneficial to the company as a whole. And even if that's not reflected in the stock price, that's fine. It doesn't need to today. Maybe it doesn't come to fruition for years. But still, if companies are doing that, that means there's an intrinsic built-up value in there that when the markets turn around, it'll be reflected then. And that's what we look for. I mean, if the company is still hitting milestones, are they still doing the things that they said they're going to do, and they're getting good results, it doesn't need to be reflected right away in the market. And I'll just sign off by saying this. I did a video with Regency Silver, who had outstanding results. And I mean, the stock kind of went up and it came right back down. And that's kind of disappointing, because part of me would think, well, that thing could gap right up. I mean, that thing had great results. Goliath is another one. That in a great market would be just trucking, motoring ahead. But we're not in good markets. We're not in great markets. It's tough out there. But knowing that's the discipline of having that market model mindset, is knowing that you've got something good. It's not always reflected in a score sheet in the market, which we consider the score sheet. Is you think, okay, the price is here, it must be doing well. That's not the case. We have to be, following a model that looks beyond the stock price alone to see, is this stock actually doing well? Is the company, delivering on what they said they're going to deliver? And we are absolutely confident, despite one could say a negative return in a lot of these. It's just a waiting game. And that's the discipline that comes with investing rather than trading. We're not traders. Right now is you could trade the market, you could short the market. There's lots of ways to make money, and believe me, there's plenty of people making lots of money. We tend to only like the growth stories, as well as the buy side, not selling short. We like to own companies, real businesses that are creating things and they're positively affecting the world and fitting this overall narrative that we have. And we won't change. And I mean, not only because I'm just not a good trader, I don't have that personality that can be that type of money manager or any of that type of thing. It's not my style. It's not my personality. We stick with the strengths that we have. And we're glad to have you here. We've been growing really well, despite how terrible the markets are, despite a lot of people not wanting to buy anything, like not looking at that stocks. And I would say overall, the markets still probably have some room to go. There's not a lot of good news on the horizon, but there's lots of good news with some individual companies. And make sure you tune in with us, engage with us, send me, I got lots of emails from people I love chatting with people, and we're going to be really stepping that up and holding more kind of Zoom meetings with people as well, like kind of group meetings where people can share ideas and thoughts off our website. So make sure you sign up. It's free on the website. We do have a paid version that we're developing as well, that we're like literally sharing with you what we're buying. But we will have our newsletter out fairly soon as well. Lots of stuff coming out. So even if it's just for sheer entertainment value and for the topics we cover, I feel confident in the companies that we have that we like, that it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, and there's going to be some great growth there. So everyone, if nothing else, get outside. It's beautiful. Enjoy fall, and we'll talk to you real soon.